Okay. Good evening. I'm going to take you to some patterns, and this is, of course, efficient. Creative thinking is thinking in a curve and away from our patterns. I will take you through some patterns which are school-related, and it's up to you if they are efficient or not. But people, we are all pattern thinkers. Just a little test about patterns. I used to be gatekeeper ages ago, and I allowed people to enter after they said the right answer. So I said 12, they gave 6. By 8, they said 4. By 6, 3. And by 10, maybe you think it's 5. No, 4 is the correct answer. And if you know what kind of rhythm this is, and after the presentation, you can tell me the pattern, or I give it away. Schools don't have a hallmark on the outside, and my most precious positions are at school. They are just there by trust. And I have to read the inspection report to know anything about school. But when I take my car to a garage, there's a Bovak sign at the outside. Or at a restaurant, I can see on the menu what they're serving. And the Dutch education is not in the top 5 PISA anymore. There's a little bit panicking around. And the plans of Minister Maya Bijsterveld tell us to focus on Dutch, English, and maths. But what is funny, notable, that math is just built on axioms which are just made by somebody creative. And up to now, it seems to work well. We're all born creative, but as soon as we start school, we eliminate it somehow. And at the end of our school career, when we start working, creativity is an increasingly wanted competence. It's now at this moment a number 1. And all the changes and the innovations through the years didn't change much in the classroom. You see, besides from the color change, we're still on desks and a little bit moved, but it didn't make much sense. The outside of the schools changed more. You see also Nikkei at the end. But I would say for this change and the next change which is coming on, Bohica, bend over, here it comes again. Just ask what the teachers want, and they tell us what to do. And on school, we're all focused on mistakes. A red pencil highlights the mistakes and the reaction by showing your school report to your grandfather or mother to get some money. You say, oh, it's a good list, but what are you going to do about the 5? You know, and you can drip away. Before somebody can start with it work, there's a lot of decision makers who all have to give a go. And here is only one man working. The men around are just overflowing. This overflow can also be seen by children with an original behavior. They have their cases pass several desks before that child, living material, is on the right spot. So I would say get some old patterns back, and to get more insight into the why of the behavior, it could be an idea to get the old pattern back and start house visiting again. Like on National Geographic, we watched the behavior in this natural environment, and this effort will pay itself back instead of the 10 minutes back, and then we know why she's not there, because she's cutting the ribbon. Young adults, they need 9 hours of sleep and a lot of food, and it seems that they have shortages of both. So around 11 o'clock, they start for an internal hunger strike. So around that time, they are completely mentally emigrated, and they're at the candy bar in the canteen. Another nice pattern. We asked students to make a planning for tomorrow, and that's okay. But for the long-term planning, they need a developed prefrontal cortex, something in your head. So knowing this, and we still ask them to make choices for their future. And like Perkamentus used to say from Harry Potter movies, it's not the talent you have, but the choices you make, and that makes what you are. And a student on VMBO has to choose 3 times in 4 years' time for his future. And his future will, within 15 years, he's doing a job. And it's a small step from Perkamentus to grandparents, and a new pattern and a trend. I'll tell you this, will be the grandparents. Mom and dad are working all day, so that's why I'm here. And the grandparents have to take over their parenting tasks. And they have plenty of time, they're educated, so they can completely focus their mind on school issues, especially when it concerns their grandchild. On the primary schools, we see a lot of parents participate. They give a helping hand at handicrafts, and they take care of transportation by field trips. But for some reason, they disappear on the secondary school. Maybe it's because the children feel ashamed, but it would be very useful if they supervise during tests, so the expensive teachers can do what they're good at. That's teaching. And besides learning, a lot of activities take place in the classroom, and of course, you have to draw the line. But passing on notes, which is here marked with the red line, can be an integral part if you ask the kids to write smart questions on it and pass it to their fellow students and concerning the subject that's been taught. And outside the classroom and school, the students are completely into new media. They have 10 conversations with 100 friends at one time. They communicate on platforms, and they learn by gaming and are used to feedback. Game over, you're dead. And their cellular phone tells them they've missed 5 calls. A pity, isn't it? And schools are linear organized. 50 minutes and all is rectangular. I think we all have the same goal, of course, for kids, preparing them for the creative future. But all schools have different missions, and they're all doing the same thing. And they all invite the same round wheel. And working more together could be an option. And especially when the number of pupils fall, especially here in Zuid-Limburg. At schools, we see a lot of Article 5 pattern. I tell you what it says. Teachers know to correct a student in the classroom, but outside the classroom, they find it difficult to approach a colleague and confront them with their undesirable behavior. And with the Article 5, we all see it, and we see it all through the fingers. All these patterns are there, and there's one pattern, and the patterns which I told you is fruit, which is easy to reach. And the only pattern you have to follow is all by yourself. It's here, it's the heart. Follow that, that's reliable, and just follow it. And only Jesus was able to walk on water. But if you follow your heart and add some courage and guts to it, you will succeed. And like Muhammad Ali used to say, even with one brain cell, impossible, I am possible. And thank you for your attention.